Hello everybody, it is Tawana Giram. Today we'll be talking about engagement and motivation of learners. So let's answer the question of how to engage and motivate learners in an EFL classroom. It is accepted for most fields of learning that motivation is essential to success, that we have to want to do something to succeed at it. Without such motivation, we will almost certainly make the necessary effort. We need, therefore, to develop our understanding of motivation, what it means, where it comes from, and how it can be sustained. Now let's define what motivation is. Motivation is some kind of internal drive which pushes someone to do things in order to achieve something. Marianne Williams and Robert Burton suggest that motivation is a state of cognitive arousal which provokes a decision to act, as a result of which there is sustained intellectual and or physical effort so that the person can achieve some previously set goal. Generally, when someone already has intrinsic motivation, rewarding them can actually decrease their intrinsic motivation, making them less interested in the activity and therefore decreasing their performance. However, when someone isn't interested in a subject, meaning they have no intrinsic motivation to learn about it, giving rewards can get them to participate in the activity, which might then spark some intrinsic motivation within them. Extrinsic motivation can lead to intrinsic motivation. So this isn't always the case. Most EFL students already have intrinsic motivation to learn English. They have a goal in mind, whether it is related to business, academics, or something else, and English is necessary for them to reach their goal. So they want to engage in learning the language. First one, make class communicative. One way to encourage a student's intrinsic motivation is to make class communicative. Part of the joy of language is using it to communicate. Language learners get a rush when they can successfully translate their thoughts into words and get their points across. Aside from the fun of communicating, it is also what most students want to get out of learning English. In other words, that's where their intrinsic motivation lies. They are already eager to be able to communicate in English for their own reasons. The more we encourage our students to communicate in class, the more motivated they will be. They will see that they are accomplishing their goals even as they are learning, and the success and achievement will make them easier to learn. So how can we make your class more communicative? Group activities are a great way to make class communicative. Get students using the language that they already know to work together to accomplish something. And next, use sitting to your advantage and ditch the traditional rows and columns. Arrange students' desks to make larger tables to encourage communication among them. And when all else fails, keep your class communicative by minimizing teacher talk time. The less you talk, the more your students will be talking, and that means they will be putting their language knowledge to work. Next one, trigger their interests. Make English learning personal. By connecting language to something personal in your students' lives, they will tap into something emotional that will help with engagement. One way to trigger students' interests is to integrate current topics, music, movies, and fads to create a relevant class culture. Another option is to investigate the theme of self-expression. By using personalized tasks, idea journals, and speaking circles, learners will be motivated by the fact that the class focuses on their personal lives. You can also consider project-based learning by choosing a topic that appeals to your general education classroom. We can trigger their interests. For example, students start on the project by brainstorming what they know and what they want to know. Then they perform research at libraries, on pre-selected websites, and by meeting experts in the classroom. And the next step, which the teacher deems most valuable and rewarding, is integrating examples and experiences into the learning process. And the last one, the project may be concluded by a final presentation. Students may create posters. This step incorporates listening, speaking, reading, and writing in English. Next one, integrate fun activities and technology. Games and fun activities offer several benefits to students. Games promote learner-centeredness, create a space for genuine communication within a meaningful context, and are often team-oriented. Therefore, it stimulates motivation, reduces anxiety, and allows for the integration of all language skills. You can consider a cognition-oriented game like the website Spelling City's pedagogical version of a crossword puzzle, and effective socially oriented games include Simon Says and Scrabble. A monologue activity used for short stories can match students' levels and interests. Select a story and have students read it. Choose vocabulary they want to learn, journal the vocabulary, and then create a monologue that could have been delivered by a character in the story. Students read the monologue without describing which character they are impersonating, and the rest of the class guesses who it is. Technology can help locate effective games and activities, but don't overlook how it can become essential motivation. Using technology can help students find pleasure and even develop a certain identity in learning English. Next one, encourage language experiences outside of the classroom. By engaging students with English outside of the classroom, you can impact your students' motivation. One way to encourage outside of the classroom language experiences is with technology. Engaging digital environments like social media platforms can help students express themselves, and browsing the web can enable them to pursue their interests. Gaming is particularly noteworthy. Research in the book International Perspectives on Motivation demonstrated how games have high intrinsic motivation for continued play, given elements like fantasy storylines, challenges, humor, benchmarks of success, and clear rules. As a result, ESL learners can engage in rich, diverse, and meaningful language experiences. 5. It is forge relationships. Generally speaking, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. That's why forging relationships with your students is so important. Particularly if you are teaching international students, you may be the only English speaker they see or speak with on a regular basis. Supporting your students is something you need to do before you can motivate them. You can let your students know that you care about them and where they come from by encouraging expressions of culture in class. Be on the lookout for any opportunities to have students share their values, beliefs, and traditions. Also, take some time every day to relate to your students on a personal level. Ask them how their weekends went, encourage them if they seem down, and let them know that you are there for them in any way. The last one, it is about giving feedback. Always consider feedback carefully. The right quantity and quality of feedback is important for forging the right relationships with your students. If you spend too much time correcting every error they make, you'll end up estranging your students. They may respect your knowledge, but they won't feel connected to you personally. It is important to give positive feedback like compliments and encouragement as well as criticism. When you have criticism to give, it is better to deliver it along with some positive feedback. Something difficult is a lot easier to hear when it is preceded and followed by something positive. That way, no students will feel like you are picking on them. You don't have to be the only source of feedback for your students either. Encourage peer feedback and self-evaluation and make time for all this in your lesson plans each day. Your students have valuable things to share with their classmates. Be sure to make it possible. It is also great to celebrate achievements on a regular basis. This doesn't mean rewarding every action your students perform. That type of extrinsic motivation will only serve to demotivate them, or it will feel disingenuous. No, I mean taking time out to talk about the things your students have accomplished and giving them the space to brag on themselves a little. Go around in a circle and have everyone share something they believe they did well that day, that week, or that semester. Have their peers give them a round of applause, compliments, or snaps to celebrate. Motivating students is a part of every teacher's job. And while honey and vinegar may be great in the kitchen, the best kind of motivation comes from within your students themselves. When we encourage intrinsic motivation in the members of our classes, we set them up for success even after they leave our classrooms. I hope this video will be useful for you. Thank you for your attention and goodbye.